'Twas a Friday, 12 days before Christmas, when 1,100 kilometres from Canberra, the Coalition's long-awaited nuclear costings were revealed.
This will make electricity reliable, it'll make it more consistent, it'll make it cheaper.
The cost difference is $263 billion through to 2050.
This is how it has been modelled, with two pathways, lower emissions and higher emissions, both with and without nuclear in the mix. It takes Labor's renewable policy from a low emission scenario and uses that figure of $594 billion. Then compares it with its nuclear plan of $331 billion from a high emissions pathway, a proposal which relies on a smaller energy system that emits more carbon emissions.
To compare on the basis of two different scenarios of what the world's going to look like doesn't make it's not a logical, sensible comparison.
Earlier this week, the CSIRO's annual assessment of future energy again found that nuclear would be twice as expensive as renewables.
Peter Dutton wants you to believe that he can introduce the most expensive form of energy and somehow that will reduce power prices.
Derided by Labor, dismissed by the Greens.
Peter Dutton's nuclear delusion is a dangerous con job.
The life of coal-fired power plants would continue beyond 2034. Under the Coalition's model, renewable energy would still be the majority source in the energy grid. The proposal to build 7 nuclear power plants around the nation would make up 38%, other sources like gas and storage making up the rest. Labor's renewable energy transition assumes a massive take-up of electric vehicles by 2050.
Labor is assuming that 98% of all new vehicle sales will be EVs. They are basically assuming that the Australian people will be forced to behave in the way that the Labor Party want them to behave.
While the Coalition insists this policy will pave the way to net zero by 2050, there's no mention of medium-term climate goals. Peter Dutton has previously signalled he would scrap the government's 2030 emissions reduction target. Under this plan, emissions would be higher over the next decade. Pablo Vinales, ABC News, Canberra.